Hello, welcome. Are you ready for tip number 3 in our Spring Forward Challenge? Today's tip is going to be a little different. Today, it's up to you guys to do the detective work and find out what's wrong with the teacher's lesson, okay? In fact, in this detective work, you'll have an opportunity to win a prize, so I hope you stay tuned. Here's the way this little game will work. I'm going to show the activity that you're going to use today in the Spring Forward Challenge if you're participating. And if you don't know what that is, I'll tell you in a second. And if you can figure out more quickly than anyone else what I'm doing wrong as I do this activity, you will win a free sorted packet for the A sound. And our sorted packets are the fastest way to teach the long vowels or any advanced phonics information. So I think that would be a really nice little freebie for you guys if you can, or for one of you, one lucky person. Okay, so if you find the error in my teaching, what's going wrong with the teacher's instruction today, then you could win a prize, exactly. So if you're just tuning in, welcome. We are in the midst of a Spring Forward Challenge where I've offered you 25 days of lesson plans. Week 1, Week 2, Week 3, and Week 4. These are targeted for struggling readers so that you can end your year strong, feeling confident that you boosted those struggling readers in the last weeks of school. Because what so often happens is we kind of slink into summer, worn down, and we're trying to create a little fun environment, little game element to this end of year so that you can not only see your struggling readers boost, but you will also have a chance to win some prizes. So in this challenge, above and beyond today's little opportunity, you will be able to win one of 3 prizes. In fact, everyone who participates will win at least one prize, a free sorted packet for the E sound. Okay, so let me give you a little background on the Spring Forward Challenge, then we'll dive right into the activity. If you can do these activities up through the end of school, whenever your school ends, and then comment on the post linked above about how it went with you and your struggling reader or readers doing these activities, then you will be entered to win one membership to the Reading Simplified Academy for 3 months, which is a very big value. Really, in the Reading Simplified Academy, I present more than I learned, frankly, in my master's and in getting my literacy license or my reading specialist license. So it's value packed, but also very targeted to get you to what you need. So that's a big prize. And it also, inside the Reading Simplified Academy, includes hundreds of differentiated student materials.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
And goes on and on.
9, 10.
Yeah. So, and I'm in there weekly, every weekday actually, to address questions. So it's a great resource. So one person will win that if you participate just by saying what you did in this challenge, and then we'll pick a winner based on the most significant change based on their context, what they brought to the situation, what the student brought to the situation. So if you're just tuning in, we are looking for you to catch me in some errors. I'm going to do one thing pretty poorly, and whoever can be the first one to identify what I'm doing wrong
Wins a prize!
Wins a prize, a free sorted packet to the A sound, which is a pretty nice value. It's probably worth about $8 to $10 if on the kind of something like Teachers Pay Teachers. So if you haven't gotten this free packet of lesson plans, really step by step, going very slowly from just 1 activity a day to 2 activities a day to 3 activities a day, and you can get that by going to the post above. Okay, so let's get on to today's tip. We're in the 25-day challenge, and I'm giving out the 3rd tip. We're doing little bits of information to help you get through the end of the year so you end on a high note. So I have talked previously about Switch It in other Facebook Lives, so just go back if you don't know how to do that. But I'm going to show it again today, and some of you may be moving on to this second day where you do the Switch It activity, which I'll show you, and then the Read It activity, which I showed on Saturday. So, because there's a lot of variability in what your children's level might be, I'm going to show you how switch it might be. And again, who can ever be the first one to tell me what's wrong will win the prize, okay? So what's wrong with the teacher today? So I'm going to go off this list for Wednesday for switch it using these words with my young friend, my brave volunteer. Okay, well, that's not a very safe way to put the board.
Okay.
Now we're going to tilt the board so they can see. Oh, you know what? Before we do that, let me share this to our group, the Level Up Your Readers. Level Up Your Readers Achievement. Okay, let's see here if I can get it fixed. And if you come in late and no one has commented, then you are lucky and you can maybe be the winner even if you see this after the fact. So whenever you come in, check the comments. If no one's won, then you guys have the chance. Okay, so
Get excited.
Yes, get excited. Okay, so day 3 tip, what's the teacher doing wrong? Okay, will you make the word got? I got a good grade.
Yes.
And when you do that, say the sound. There you go.
I got a good grade.
Very nice. Okay, we're going to switch it, and we're going to switch got to hot. Oh, it's not yet hot outside, I don't think.
Well,
We're getting warmer.
we're in Wisconsin, so.
Okay, just say it once. Good. Now let's check each sound. Okay, I was watching the camera instead of you.
Okay.
And the word is
Hot.
hot. Is perfect. Okay, switch it to hat. Like I put a hat on to keep the sun from burning me. Very nice. And the word
Hat.
is all right. And now the next word is had. I had a good time today. Had.
Hat.
Nope.
Had.
Bingo. Okay, switch it to hid. I hid when we played hide and seek.
Sorry.
Hid. Can you check them by looking at them?
Hid.
Hid. Okay, now let's try the word lid. Put the lid on the spaghetti pot.
Okay.
If you're just tuning in, look for the mistake in my teaching because you could be the winner of our prize. What we're looking for is what is the teacher doing wrong? If you can tell me what's going wrong with my teaching, then and you write it in the comments, you may be able to win our prize. Okay, so figure out what's going wrong with my teaching. Right now we're in the middle of switch it. As part of the Spring Forward Challenge, we're doing this list if you've gotten this already. If not, you can get it in the post above. Okay, but look out for my bad teaching because there's something going wrong here. Okay, lid, we're going to switch to lad. That young lad is a nice boy. And the word is very good. If you're just tuning in, we are looking for my errors. What is the teacher doing wrong? And if you can comment about what I'm doing wrong, you may win a prize, a free sorted packet for A, for the A sound. Okay, so you've got lad, that's a young boy. Let's switch it to lap. The baby sat on my lap.
Lap.
Did you see the word? Lap. Very good. So if you're just tuning in, let me know what am I doing wrong, okay? Let's go backwards because we don't have a large audience right now, so we are going to go backwards and do this again because we've got to figure out what I'm doing wrong and give a prize out, okay? Build the word got. This is what I'm doing.
Got.
Very good. Switch it to hot.
Okay. Hot.
All right. So today, in the middle of the school day here in America may not be the best time to get a big audience. So someone's going to come along later in the day and be the first one to comment, and so they will win the prize. So I guess I'm going to have to give the answer away.
Don't do it. Someone else can know.
This is the answer. What was I doing wrong? This switch it activity is so powerful. It's great that she's matching sound and symbol, but what I was doing wrong was I was not challenging her. She was doing something that was super easy. It was independence. She didn't need my help. So why would I be here in an instructional setting? If you're just tuning in, there's a question for you, and you might be able to put an answer in the comments to win a prize. Because right now I'm giving away the answer.
Don't give it away.
So if I have an opportunity to work with a student in a small group guided reading session, and particularly if they're struggling, my goal should be to put them at a level where they have to be challenged, where they make some errors, or they at least go slowly because they're processing. They have to work because they need me to help them move to the next level. Did she need any help to get through this activity? No, it was super easy, right? This was not appropriate for her. And I want to tell you about one of my experiences a while ago when I was a staff developer and a reading researcher at a university. We got to look at lots of different kindergarten and first grade teachers doing guided reading sessions with a struggling reader. So they were just working one-on-one, and we recorded them teaching their student in a guided reading session. These were students that were in their class, so they knew them. And as we looked at these videos of different teachers in multiple states with multiple different classrooms, in multiple classrooms, each teacher was only in one class, we saw some patterns emerge. And the patterns that we saw emerge relate to my question for you today.
Question.
Those teachers, by and large, were asking the student who was supposedly struggling to do something that the student was able to do independently. Kind of like what my young friend here did today. She didn't need my help, so I wasn't really teaching her. And so these teachers were working with struggling readers, but not helping them. So that was not the best instruction for them. The opportunity that a teacher has with a student is very limited. So every time she gets with that student, she should be challenging the student by and large. She should be encouraging the student, or setting up the situation actually, so that the student makes an error or has to struggle, because then the teacher can give feedback and then the student learns. That is how we grow in pretty much any domain, not just academic. We try something that we can't do independently, we receive feedback, and we adjust and we learn and we move to the next level. And then the teacher can...
The smartest people in the world are the ones who ask the most questions.
So let me tilt this up a little bit. If you're just tuning in, we're talking about what can go wrong with a teacher's instruction, particularly of a struggling reader. So as we challenge our student and we give them feedback, then they learn and they move up to developmental level. So that's the fastest way to improve a student in reading, particularly, especially if they're struggling. They need to be really challenged to the level at which they cannot do something independently, and then we give them feedback, and then they learn from that and they move up developmentally. But if we do an activity where the child does not need any help, then we're not really needed at that moment, and we're not growing them. They may be practicing a level that they're independent on, and that has some value, particularly for independent times, but they're not getting feedback because they haven't made a mistake or they haven't had to struggle with anything, and so they're not going to grow. So they're not at that zone of proximal development that
you guys have to get in the zone
that Vygotsky talked about. If you've been taught about Vygotsky, he talked about that area that's slightly above a student's challenge, slightly above their independent level, but not so hard that it's too daunting. And in between those two places is where a student can grow as in any area, whether it's reading or basketball or piano. So we're talking about how to make sure that as you do your Spring Forward challenge, that you don't let the student function at a level where they don't need your help. And usually with Switch It, that means if they don't make any errors, like my young friend here didn't today, if she didn't make any errors, then she didn't need me, so I'm not really challenging her at the highest level, and I'm not giving her any feedback. So she's not going to grow. So make sure that you select a list, whether it's here in week 1 that's CVC words, Or you skip to a harder level like week 2 where it's CVCC words.
Consonant, vowel, you know.
Or the hardest level. We even have it's not the hardest, but it's slightly harder. On week 3, we have those adjacent consonants at the beginning, like in truck, or over here on Thursday, plant. Those are slightly harder than the CVC words that she was working with, because she did an example where she changed, say, hot to got. Can you go ahead and do that for us? Hot to got.
Got.
She doesn't need my help. I'm not giving feedback. She's not growing. So don't do that. That's my number 1 tip.
Don't.
Especially if you have a struggling reader. Find the place at which they struggle slightly, where they need to make some errors, or at least they slow down and it takes some effort, because that's the place where you will grow. And that aligns with our mission here at Reading Simplified. What I've spent the last 20 years doing is figuring out how to streamline reading instruction. I got to do that with lots of tutoring myself, some classroom instruction, lots of reading research, and I've just been able to watch teachers and work with teachers.
I've also had a PhD.
I've even been able to work with lots of students from all different ages, and over those years, this is all I really do. I've kind of figured a few things out that can help you, and one of those tips for day 3 of our Spring Forward Challenge is really make sure that you find a place for your struggling readers, especially where they make some mistakes. Now, why is it that sometimes, particularly in that study that I was mentioning at the beginning, that there were teachers who were working with struggling students, but they had them not make any errors? Why do you think that is? Well,
why?
I don't know for sure, but I was teaching math last year as a volunteer at my daughter's school, and I had like a small group, and I was a lot weaker at it than I am at reading, because I don't teach math regularly, and I just didn't have any tools. That's not my content area. So when the kids had trouble, I was kind of like, I don't really know what to do. and I felt a little insecure. So I probably wasn't challenging them as much as I could have, because I didn't have the right feedback to move them from here to the next level.
Just like from here to all the way over.
On our website and on this Facebook page, we have lots of examples of feedback cues for the few activities that we use for Reading Simplified that make a huge difference. So you can invest some time watching these videos either on the website, readingsimplified.com, or here on our Facebook page to figure out how to give the feedback cues for these few strategies like switch it and read it and sort it. And when you figure out those feedback cues and how to give them, then your student will not stay here. You will give them the right feedback, and then they will grow. So please consider that you could actually not let your struggling reader, if you happen to let your struggling readers often do something that's pretty easy, where they don't actually need to struggle, and maybe it's because you don't know quite what feedback will get them to the next level, or because maybe you don't know which activity is optimal for them. Those things you can find out on our Reading Simplified.
That is your brain.
Reading Simplified blog, or again through these Facebook Lives. And if you want immediate access to that kind of information, I also encourage you to consider our Reading Simplified Academy membership. Inside that monthly membership, you get all the professional video training you need to learn how to do a handful of activities that move students rapidly. You learn the precise types of feedback that make the difference. What's been so ironic to me over my years of working with students who are 4 years old or 14, with a couple of activities, like I said, only a few, read it, switch it, sort it, these are all that's necessary for teaching reading by and large. The same types of errors crop up. There's only 3 or 4 types of errors that I see for switch it. So I've seen those errors so many times, I can give the feedback in my sleep. So if the student is at this level and it's kind of stretching and they make an error, I know what to do to get them to move to the feedback they need so that they can move to the next level. So that's
You should know what to do.
That's what's provided inside the Reading Simplified Academy. How to take those quick and easy feedback tips and apply them to each of the core activities, and also how to know which activities to use at which time. And even though it's a complete video course, it's only a handful of activities because we have figured out how to simplify reading. It doesn't have to be hundreds of activities. It doesn't have to be thousands of worksheets. It doesn't have to take 2 to 3 years. In my private practice, I typically get struggling students, students with learning disabilities, and students with dyslexia to grade level or beyond within 12 hours of instruction. Okay?
To infinity and beyond.
So in the Reading Simplified Academy, I share these things that I've been working on for 20 years with you. And the other thing that you can find immediately for your professional development inside the Reading Simplified Academy is not just the learning, but a lot of materials for students. We have sorted pages. We have pages to read for each level that the student is on. These are all differentiated, so if you have a kindergarten level student, there's materials for you. If you have a student that's at the 3rd grade level, we have materials for you. So whether you invest some time in going through the Facebook Lives that we have here to figure out how to give the feedback that makes a difference, that moves the kid from here to here to here, or if you go to readingsimplified.com and watch the videos on the handful of sites, a handful of activities we present there.
She's going to be your new favorite.
Then, or if you join immediately the Reading Simplified Academy, either way, you can be sure that you're working with your struggling reader and not letting them slide by with easy work that's beneath them, but you're really pushing them to be challenged, and you are giving them the feedback they need, and you're moving them to the next level. So those are the 2 kinds of best suggestions I have for you.
And one day, your reader will be on fleek.
So keep in mind as you finish up the school year, I hope you can participate in our Spring Forward Challenge, and I hope that you can buy into this idea that even the tough kids that you really may have lost some hope for, that if you try some different types of activities and or tried some new feedback techniques, you might be amazed by how they can grow, and it will really be very gratifying to you to be seeing the fruit of trying something new. So if you're just tuning in, be sure to watch the beginning of this video so you can see what I'm doing wrong, so you can write a comment and be the first one to win the prize, because today we are offering a prize of a sorted packet for the A sound, and it's probably an $8 to $10 value on something like Teachers Pay Teachers. So good luck. We'll see who is the first one to win, or to post and to win. Thanks for tuning in.
You already gave out the answer.
Shh, don't tell them where it is.